Hey everyone, Chris here again. Last video I left you hanging because we got WordPress set up on Google Cloud, but we could only access it via an IP address. So realistically, if you set up something, you're going to want to tie a domain name to your WordPress instance. So how do you do that? Really, this procedure will work for anything on Google Cloud. You could set up any instance in Google Cloud, have an IP address, and tie it to a domain name. To start with, let's look at this instance that we created in the last video. It has an external IP address, but the problem with this external IP address is it's ephemeral. If I were to stop this server and restart it, I might get assigned a different external IP address. We want to guarantee that this server always comes up with the same IP address. So how do we do that? Well, if you just click this little menu here and go to Network Details, you'll notice that this is listed as ephemeral, and from here we can choose external IP addresses. So here we have an ephemeral IP address. If you just drop that down, we can change that to static, and we can give it some name. So in my case, we'll call it WordPress. Okay, and now what's happened is this external IP address is now reserved as a static address, and I can guarantee that every time I restart this instance will be this address. So that's step one, and that's just to guarantee that we're always at the same place. I'm just going to copy that into my clipboard. Step two is to tie this external IP address to your actual domain name. So in order to do that, you need to go over to where your domain is registered. Now I happen to have my domain registered with Google Domains. I have a video on how to transfer a domain to Google Domains. I'll provide a link to it. But this procedure should work for any domain name provider, really. The easiest way to do this is to find your DNS settings for your domain name. So I'm going to actually set up devbasemedia.com to point at my Google Cloud instance. So right now, devbasemedia, if I go and Google it, or if I go and type in the address, you'll see I have it just redirecting to my YouTube channel. Rather than that, what we're going to do is we're going to send it over to the domain name. So in order to do that, what you need to do is you need to add a few custom resource records for this domain name. Okay. First of all, I'm going to remove the domain forward that I have on this domain. You may not have this. And next, I'm going to add my A address. This is basically the address for this domain name, and it's going to go to that static IP address that I reserved. So I'll add that. And another custom resource record that you need is a CNAME record. I think this is canonical name. This will let us redirect www.devbasemedia.com to devbasemedia.com. So that, you probably want the www to also resolve. So I'll click add. And believe it or not, this is more or less set up. This is the easiest way to do this. Now, this likely isn't going to happen instantly, so you may just need to be a little bit patient. You're likely going to want to go and reload your domain as many times as you can. And so you can see right now it's obviously not working at all. I just need to be a little bit patient. Now, rather than just reload my browser constantly, I do have another option for querying this. So if you want to query your domain name without constantly hitting reload in your web browser, there is actually a command line tool you can use. If you're on Linux, you can type dig and then the name of the domain you want to query. And you notice that for me here, that is the external IP address that we set in the Cloud DNS. So this should work. So if I want to verify, I can go to devbasemedia.com. And what do you know? It goes to my WordPress website. So that's how you set up your domain name to point at any instance on Google Cloud. So still one little problem with this guy though. Notice this little thing, connection is not secure. What if I want to open up HTTPS on this and ensure that these connections are always going through an encrypted link? Well, that's something I'll discuss in a future video. But for now, thanks for watching, like or subscribe.